Can you maintain happiness 24/7? Well, the answer may surprise you. And in this video, we're going to understand the nature of happiness itself, some external factors on happiness, and then how you can cultivate happiness within your life. First piece is understanding the nature of happiness itself. All of us strive to be happy and enjoy every second of our life. And we first have to understand the difference between state happiness and trait happiness. So state happiness you could think of as joy or temporary happiness, where you receive good news and you feel that emotional high where you're like, I never want to leave this place. I feel amazing right now. And then you have trait happiness that's more of that stable trait over time, that you feel happy with your life. You feel overall contentment with where you are at. It doesn't mean you're happy all the time and you feel a wide range of emotions, but overall you're happy with the direction of your life and how you feel about your life. And it's really important to make that distinction because I'm going to reference it a lot throughout this video. So once that you understand trait versus state happiness, it's time to understand happiness and its relationship with emotions. Trait happiness you can have all the time. You can be generally satisfied with your life and still experience sadness, still experience stress, but on a macro level, you feel really great about the direction you are going. And you can have that happiness 24/7. Now, what you can't have is you can't have state happiness. You cannot always be on that emotional high. And I think a lot of people chase that. A lot of people be like, yes, I want to feel this overbearing feeling of joy all the time. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to be mad. But that is impossible because those are completely normal human emotions to feel. And to not feel those would make you not human. So it is impossible to only be happiness and be in that happiness state 100% of the time. And you have to understand that relationship, because I think me in the past, I used to chase it all the time. I used to chase that state happiness where I'd always feel joy. I would avoid sadness. I would avoid stress. I would avoid all those things just so I could feel happy. But the problem was that I was pushing away those emotions. And when you push those emotions away, they come back even stronger. So me personally, what I've adopted is actually to just let myself feel those things. Let myself feel sad. Let myself feel angry. And not let that control my actions, but just acknowledge, yep, I feel sad, and that's okay. And I got that concept from Alex Hormozy, and he taught me so much that you can't just get stuck in feeling happiness all the time. And one mantra I've came up for myself that I've found very effective is I ask myself, instead of how can I make myself happy today, I ask myself, how can I make the most out of my day? Or how can I make the most out of my life? And when I do that, I get more of that trait happiness, not that state happiness. Because when I'm focused on making the most out of my life, then I'm not happy to get up and go to the gym. I'm not happy to do work all day, but I know that I will get that trait happiness to do those things. I may be stressed with the work. I may be angry to go to the gym, but I know I will feel better. I know I will be making the most out of my life. So it's important to acknowledge that you can have the trait happiness, but you will not have the state happiness at all times, because you're going to feel a wide range of emotions to be human. And one final thing is that it's impossible to have the state happiness because we have this thing called hedonic adaptation. And I'm sure you may have heard of the hedonic treadmill, where when you reach a certain level of success or you reach a certain level of happiness, you get used to it. And then anything below that is actually worse than it used to be. So a lot of us get stuck in that happiness trap of, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I make $1 million. I'll be happy when I'm 20 pounds lighter. I'll be happy when I have a wife. But it never happens that way, because you told yourself you'd be happy 3 years ago when you are today. You've already accomplished so many things that you told yourself you'd be happy when, and you got used to it. You got used to it and you are no longer happy with that. And that is okay. And so for me, what I have shifted to is actually shifting to work and focusing on work as my adaptation, because I know I can always do a better quality and quantity of my work, which then means I can judge myself on a daily basis on the input I am putting in, and it prevents that hedonic adaptation of the outcome of a certain amount of money I make, or how much I bench press, or whatever it may be, and it prevents the hedonic adaptation. So that's understanding the nature of happiness. The second piece is to focus on the external factors that affect trait and state happiness. When we look at external factors, the first one is life circumstances. A balance wheel is a really good way, and that's in the description, to see what is going on in your life and how could it be affecting especially your trait happiness. Because I guarantee your relationships, your health, and your resources and your professional life affect your trait happiness and how you feel about the overall direction of your life. So it's important to get that in order. On top of life circumstances, material versus emotional health will affect your trait happiness. If you're focused on only material goods, that may help your state happiness, but not your trait happiness. Your emotional well-being and the impact that you make will affect your trait happiness much more than material goods. And I can promise you, I can attest to that every time, because I used to fall in the trap of, I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I get this. I'll be happy when I'm doing this. And it affected my state happiness short term, but my trait happiness fell off. And so it wasn't until I got my emotional well-being in check and focused on the impact that I am making that I was able to design my life to then create trait happiness. And finally, within external factors, another thing that's going to affect you is, and will fuck you up, is social media and comparison. If you constantly try to keep up with the Joneses and you're looking at your social media and you're always trying to compare yourself to the things that they have, you will never be happy. You may get that state happiness when you match the person you're comparing yourself to, but I promise you it will be fleeting. And to create true trait happiness, like I said, I create work as the goal, because then I don't compare myself to anybody else. I only compare myself to me. Because I know what I did yesterday. I know how hard I worked yesterday. I know the quality and quantity of my work that I did yesterday, and it gives me a very good litmus test to compare myself against myself so that I can create that trait happiness. So finally, strategies to create trait happiness. Those being quiet time and disconnecting has been extremely helpful for me. Recently, I faced some pretty good burnout. It was causing some pretty big anxiety and some pretty big stress. And so by practicing this quiet time and disconnecting time, it's been really helpful. So the way I practice quiet time is driving. When I drive 15, 20 minutes, I turn everything off and I just let my thoughts run. The other day, I was fortunate enough to be on an hour-long drive with complete silence the whole way there. And what I found is I was able to work through my thoughts, work through the stress, and I really felt good and kind of navigated where I was going. On top of disconnecting, I really like disconnecting. So what I do now is that I get all my work done, and then once I'm at that point in my night when I'm done with all my work, I disconnect completely. I get rid of my phone, I get rid of my computer, everything. I just focus on what I'm doing. Maybe that's hanging out with my spouse. Maybe that's playing video games with my friend. Maybe that's just having more quiet time. Maybe it's reading a book. Whatever it is, I'm disconnecting from my phone, I'm disconnecting from my computer, and I find a way to get that quiet time and disconnection time to really work through the things that I'm facing. And on top of quiet time and disconnection, another thing that I really like to focus on to create happiness is gratitude. When I really think about every day, what is one thing I'm grateful for? I tend to feel a lot better on a global level or a trait level. So practicing gratitude daily can be helpful for you as well. And one final thing with gratitude and happiness is actually your lifestyle itself. Are you getting in the physical activity? Are you getting in the sleep? Are you finding ways to make an impact within your life and make the most out of your life, as I mentioned earlier? So that's, can you maintain happiness 24/7? If you like this video, please like, subscribe, but most importantly, comment. What was most helpful for you in this video? And I'll make more about that.